recording. That's a little loud in my ears. Unicorn Overlord. This one fared worse than BJ's last suggestion. 11 sessions, no cheats. Final score was -10 to story and -48 was the final score on gameplay. Let's get into it. Let's get into the story positives. Because there were quite a few story positives. I'll give you that. I gave 2 voice acting positives. I gave a positive to dialogue, and I gave a positive to music direction. And I apparently can't spell V to save my life, because in the voiced story sections, the sprite work was actually pretty good. There is sprite work and good brickwork in terms of the backgrounds. So, there it is. During the voice scenes. Everywhere else, it's kind of blech, you know? It's kind of okay at best, you know? Then there's... I gave a positive to localization, I gave a positive to the gameplay story integration on both axes. That's it. 8 presentation positives. Oof. Moving on. On to the characters now. I gave Elaine 2 positives. I gave Lex a positive, and I gave a positive to Elaine and Lex's. I keep wanting to say Rex for some reason. Apparently, I'm doing the LR misromanization now. Oh, what the hell, me? Anyways, I gave Lex a positive, and I gave a positive to their friendship. Milsandra, that swordswoman that really was obsessed, that was essentially Elaine's fangirl. She got a positive. As did Renault, as once he got broken free of the mind control, he was actually interesting. I actually kind of liked Gilbert. He was an interesting character. Which I'm pretty sure Gilbert was the dude who was like just kind of, he was trying to do what he thought was best for his people, right? Right. So I gave Rosalind and Etwalind positives a positive each. I didn't feel like Rosalind did enough to warrant multiple positives, though it is tempting to just retroactively give her positives now. But no, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm just like, I can't justify more positives. Sorry, my dear. You know? So, yeah. Etzelyn was also another interesting character. I really enjoyed her character, though, much like a lot of RPGs, once their arc is done, they kind of stop factoring into the plot for the most part. With the exception of Rosalind, because, well, I did the whole Rite of Covenant with Rosalind, so there's that. Morard, the dude that got transformed into a lion bestial. He was interesting, and I liked his progression. And that was it. That was the only characters that I felt were worthy of a positive. Then there were the support conversations, which are known as rapport conversations in this one. Let's get into it. There was a couple. Lex and Chloe's rapport conversation, that was an interesting one. Absolutely loved Elaine and Clive's rapport conversation. Great look into Elaine and his worries, as well as Clive and his devotion. So that's good. I liked Elaine and Scarlett's rapport conversations. It was nice and wholesome. True, I didn't go the romantic route with them, and that support conversation really leans heavily into the romance angle, but it's still good. Elaine and Rosalind's rapport conversation Rapport conversation chain. These are for the chains. Means, I suppose, I should make that clear. Or live on camera here. So yeah, their support chain does a lot in a short amount of time. And I really like it. Shows them both of their characters off really well, and shows Rosalind's growth in particular very well as it shows off Rosalind's growth as well. So yeah, I think the fact that we get such good insight in such short scenes definitely is warranting of 2 positives. So that's it. Those were the only support chains I liked that I bothered to get and liked. There was one other one that I did, and the rest were the rest of the ones that I managed to get were either okay or they were bad. They were either meh or they were bad. So, and I don't remember how many of them actually got negatives, but I guess we'll see when we get to the negatives. Now let's get into scenes. Elaine and Lex takes this training scene after the time skip. It was really, really good. We'll touch on the time skip a little bit later. But that opening training scene, that was good. That was a good way to establish not only their friendship, but their competence as well. With the whole, oh shit, there's a ship, oh shit, it's annoying in colors, alright, alert the town, let's go. Good competence. I also liked the scene where Nina is cut loose by the bandit group who she is running with, as it shows the group's leader Bryce recognizes that this is no life for her. You could ask, why didn't I give Bryce a positive, or Bryce or Nina a positive? I felt like this was like their only real moment of really good characterization, so. Despite the mind control plot shooting it in the foot, at Beringia and Travis's reunion after she is taken by Bultro is a wonderfully wholesome moment. So, that's good. Then Gilbert's declaration of his ascension is a great scene. And then I also like the scene where Rosalind and Etwalind hand over the Ring of the Maiden and pledge to continue to help Elaine. And as I feel it is awesome and shows that the elves in this setting are actually smart. Yeah, we're not going to be egotistical dumbasses because that kind of kicked us in the ass, so we're going to smarten the hell up. You know? Again, if I'm remembering correctly, similar to the elves in Lord of the Rings, because in the Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure the elves, once the shit started hitting the fan, they were like, okay, our egotistical bullshit is not going to cut it this time. Okay, cool. I also like Morard's backstory. That was interesting. Because he was a Zenoiran soldier. That was kind of interesting. And despite myself, the epilogue actually, with all of the where everybody is after the war, that was good stuff. 32 in total. Let's get to the 42 negatives, shall we? Cutscene flow sucks in this game. It feels like way too often you're just bombarded with cutscenes and scenes that tell you the blindingly obvious, and it's so frustrating. I end up calling this text spam in the gameplay negatives. I also really hate the story sequencing. I gave it 2 negatives. I could have given it a 3rd, but I feel like it's not quite bad enough for 3, but it is really bad. Oof. Cutscene incompetence is everywhere in this story. I really don't like the mind control elements, even if it is possession. In fact, I actually gave it 2 negatives because the fact that it's actually possession does not help. It's just, it still takes away the justice versus revenge question, right? Instead, let's just have no nuance whatsoever because fuck it, I guess, you know? Then there's the constantly shifting allegiances, which are just fucking irritating. Because allegiances just change so fast, it's just freaking annoying. It feels like I need a flowchart to keep track. Heck, which, thinking on it, I've never had to do, as most stories I encounter really don't have that problem. I really don't, like, even stories where a character flat out says, in dialogue, I feel like I need a flowchart to keep up. You don't actually need a flowchart, or at least I don't need a flowchart to keep up, but in here, God, it kind of felt like I needed to. I gave a negative for the writing. It's just way too all over the place for my liking, and it feels like a story that was written by committee, where everybody wrote something and nobody was no one was communicating ideas back and forth, I find the themes are muddled, and the plot only works if 85% of the cast are painting or guzzling dipshits. Idiot plot. To be blunt. I gave a negative for bad internal continuity, the world feeling empty, which also ties into bad world building, not helped by the fact that there's fake drama everywhere and so much empty text I can't fucking stand it. I gave the empty text a triple negative. Never mind the pacing and padding issues. I gave Galerius a negative for being a terrible villain that basically has no characterization to him. So, screw him. Then there's Hilda, who annoys the piss out of me with her idiocy. It paints her as a moron rather than a noble warrior just trying to do her best to maintain order. Right? Because she really feels like she's super fucking dumb. Again, this plot only works if 85% of the cast are morons, and I really fucking hate that. Oh, and then there's Monica. Not to be confused with Monica the Awesome from Three Hopes. But no, this Monica is fucking stupid because she thinks Sonoya's rule is at best is unchangeable and at worst favorable. Yeah, fuck her. Oh, and then she has the fucking gall to realize that our fight with her was pointless and be annoyed that we didn't tell her when Elaine made it crystal fucking clear here that we didn't want the fight, and she didn't fucking listen. We did tell you. You didn't fucking listen, Monica. There's a reason why you were sitting on the goddamn bench as my lowest level character the entire game after you joined. I literally purposefully put some of those treaties that give exp into other characters just so that Monica could sit at the fucking bottom. I hated her so much. Galay was a cowardly waste of character. Really fucking hated him. Oh, but then there was Zanatio. Fucking Zanatio. He's a hypocrite, he's a blasphemer, and oh yes, he's blind to the evil he is committing. So, yeah, I fucking hated him. He got a triple negative. So it turns out there was only one rapport conversation that actually got a triple negative, and that was Kitra and Fran. So for a good chunk of it, it spins its wheels, and then it tries to do a gag, where apparently the Liberation Army has come up with 500 pages of complaints about her. 50 complaints would have been pushing it, but 500 is just so far removed from reality that I don't even know where to begin with it. God, I fucking hated that. at triple negative. Then there's the exposition scene explaining that Galerius took over the continent, which just feels wrong to me. It feels like it was way too damn easy, and the fact that it's not helped by the fact that it cut away before we saw the fight with Alinea, who I spelt wrong because I didn't correct her name, in Alinea, and yeah, that just sucks. We see it later as to what happened, because if they had shown that, well, guess what? That would have given away the whole gambit, the whole plot right away. And we can't have that now, can we? You know? The intro, regardless of if you chop it at the end of the quest, the Unicorn Ring, or later, is not a good one. It fails to really establish the villain, and while it does do a good job of setting up Elena and his goals, the mind control plot point shoots the nuance in the foot and makes the writing all the weaker. Then there's Galay guilt-tripping Joseph with his dying breath, which is a bullshit plot point that they will do absolutely fucking nothing with. At all. Oh, so that was a negative. Then there's the scene after we defeat Senatio, which just highlights everything wrong with his character, so that was a triple negative. And then I gave the Albion arc in general a triple negative. Bad writing everywhere, it's a giant idiot plot, and it's just wrong on so many levels. Like, I don't even know where the fuck to start. Like, seriously, fuck this arc. Then there was the twist of Alinea being possessed by Galerius, which was like, that is such a lore shock moment, it's not even fucking funny. Honey, it's kind of stupid, you know? Hated it. And then I also gave a negative to the outro, because it was less this, yay, I'm done, to, and more, thank fuck I'm done, which just sucked. Let's move on to the positives, what few there were. I gave the music a positive. I gave the save system 2 positives. I gave a positive to the options. I gave a positive for the log that lets you reread and re-listen to dialogue. Basically, I will always be giving positives for logs that let you reread dialogue, because it's good stuff, right? A lot of them are of varying quality, and I would argue there's like 3 specific games that are barely going to get positives for the log, but it's there, therefore it works. Therefore, I'm going to cut it a break, you know? So, yeah. The gameplay story integration I mentioned earlier. I like the fact that you can swap units in the middle of combat. So, let me explain this one a little bit. Like, let's say you have Joseph's unit and Lex's unit right beside each other. The tutorial quest shows this off nicely. You can actually swap to Joseph's unit, even though Lex is closer, and you can actually get Joseph to attack. Good stuff. I also liked the Valor skills, and the tactics were actually a decent gambit system. Even if I do wish you could still control your units directly. I ended up giving the fast travel a triple positive. I gave a positive to both the minimap and the world map. They're not the greatest maps ever, but they're also really, really good. They're also good maps. So I'm not gonna throw the maps under the bus when they're good, you know. Formation building, basically it offers some awesome strategic value. The variances in the classes is actually really, really good and adds to your kit. Being able to complete quests before you even get them is always awesome, especially considering a lot of those are fetch quests. So I guess the ability to complete tasks, if you prefer, is really beneficial. I did give a positive to the power progression curve, although I really do think that the difficulty curve kind of counterbalances this a little too harshly. I did like the campsites on certain battlefields. Those were actually good. I gave a positive for enemy variety and itemization. Then I also gave a positive for the Unicorn Ring Quest, which is the tutorial quest. That was good. The Battle of Barbatimio was a good difficulty spike, but a fun as hell one, so I gave it a pass. I also liked the battle with Magellan, as I felt it was interesting in its approach. Also, Bowman of the Setting Sun is a fun and unique map with an interesting and non-intrusive gimmick. That was the one with, oh fuck, what was her name? The friend of Rosalind, right? The one that wanted to hide, or was it Rosalind? No, it was Etelin's friend, right? The one that was constantly trying to hide so she wouldn't be spotted. That was good stuff. So, yeah, 26 X positives. Now let's get to the 74 negatives to gameplay. Good lord. Here we go. Well, you can turn it off in the menu. The default pausing after everything is just damn annoying, and I basically gave the pacing a negative for that. I hate the tutorials. I hate the rapid-fire nature of the tutorials. Tutorials that happen when shopping becomes available. And then I gave a second negative for that. Triple negative to audio spam. Jesus Christ, the audio spam in this game is terrible. Then there's the text spam, which is the aforementioned dialogue keep popping up to frickin' ruin your day. So that sucked. Then there's this concept that the lore runner calls seconds and minutes. Triple negative for that. This is a concept of the game wasting small amounts of your time, and that adding up to being irritation over time, right? I hate the time limited battles. That was a triple negative. And it's not helped by the fact that the ally AI is not very good. Double negative for the ally AI. I also am not a fan of the automatic nature of battles, as I prefer selecting actions rather than leaving it to gambits and RNG. And trust me, RNG fucking you over is the name of the fucking game in this one. Ugh. The pathfinding. Oh god, the pathfinding. Oh, allies will walk right into enemies when I need them to retreat. And there is no fleeing from individual combats, which is dumb. Triple negative. Have enemy AI, not any better. I didn't like the ambushes. I don't like the fact that the battle predictions can shift, and sometimes after you've selected one, so you'll select a unit, right? So you'll select a unit, you'll get them to go attack this, and you're like, okay, cool, so I am going to curb stomp this unit. I'm going to defeat this unit in one hit, in one go. Then you get up to them, and suddenly the forecast is saying, no, they'll have a little bit of HP left. And that's just one of the best case scenarios. I literally ran into ones where I was like, cool, I'm going to do a decent amount of damage. And then it turns out I'm going to do absolutely fuck all in terms of damage. Sometimes that's because you took a lot of damage along the way, but other times it's like, nothing's changed. What the fuck? You know? I hate it. The whole reason you have a battle forecast is so that you understand what might happen. It's actually one of the reasons why I prefer how it looked in for me to throw Engage a bone here, I actually liked how Engage handled it, because that was another showcase of this is how it will end by the end of it. Same with, I'm pretty sure Fates, but I can't remember if Awakening did the same thing. I guess we'll find out when Steve ends up going through it. Actually, I think it was just a different version in Awakening. I don't like okay, then there was the stop-and-go nature of battles. I hate the controls on the map. And I really don't like the pacing. You see, the map control, the stop-and-go nature was a triple. The controls on the map were a single, and the gameplay pacing was a triple negative. I also gave a negative for the stamina system, because I really don't like it. Then there's the loop of pain thing, where you can actually get smacked up to an enemy instead of away, which is just, wow, fuck off, And that leads immediately into another battle, which can just royally fuck you over, which is just, ouch. I gave a triple negative to the difficulty curve. I gave 2 negatives to the encounter design. I'll stand behind that. Grind, I gave a triple negative. I gave the scaling exp negative, because I didn't think it was well thought out here. It does eventually kind of even out, but really the treaties are what offset it more than actually grinding, so shrug. I don't like the overworld design, and I feel like there's some bad visual distinction. Then there's the main map, the Priestess Abducted, which just is not good, in my opinion. Too boring, Galerius caught me in a pain loop, and it is way too easy to fuck up. That happens with a lot of maps, I find. Another Prince is a bad main map, and is an endurance round, and it just feels unfair. That is the one where you basically need to either defeat this one commander dude, or you need to defeat 50 enemy units, and then they'll retreat. So then there's the battle for Penavita, which is just bullshit and inconsistent. Then there's the battle against Alcina at the Tower of Thorns, which cheats. Not the last time the game will cheat. The idea is supposed to be that she teleports between 3 garrison points, but it requires you to have units on those points to stop her from constantly reviving, and that is just wrong. Some people could argue that's not really cheating, but that's still bullshit, and the game never fucking tells you you need somebody to be stationed in those garrison points. So, no, triple negative. Then a Fleeting Dream was a difficulty spike from Hell. I believe that was Elheim's final map, which was just bullshit. And then the rest of it was all just a wash until we get to the final map. Oh god, the final map. Alright, so the map itself is terrible. It is a terrible Overlord asshole. There's so many elements that could just screw you over, especially with the 5 enemy generals that attack you. One spawns more units, one spans immobilization traps, and also has a couple of ballistas and a catapult right beside them. Another one is basically right beside some flames and is like, bring it on. And another one has magic mines that can fuck you over easily. Fun. Then, when Galerius himself shows up, he cheats. He heals constantly, and it basically got to the point where I had to crank the difficulty down to finally get him. Oh, and there were so many times where my attack would actually go down so badly that attacking him became not worth it. And that sucked. I finally got him, though. Finally. God, I hated him. Ugh. With an extra special fuck off to his miasma, too. Because, see, there's this thing called the power of cleansing, and if you don't have it, all of your people get taken over, and you basically get a game over. And that actually is the same of what happens within the map. You actually have to use the cleansing ability in order to free all your units so you can continue to move them. After a while, he finally runs out of that power, but it's still fucking irritating, you know? And I especially wanted him to fuck off with the whole constantly healing after every combat while being garrisoned, which meant he kept constantly healing. So not only did after every attack did he recover 100 and I think it was like 36 HP on normal, but he would also occasionally get like 80 HP back. Not good. And then there was the triple negative for the outro in general, and a negative for that new difficulty that is only available in a new game with no new game plus. If there was a new game plus, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I would not be retroactively adding that negative to Sky 1. But yeah, that's it. That's Unicorn Overlord, ladies and gentlemen. I hate this game. I hate this game. I needed to die. What? Oh, okay. I just need I just need this game to go away. I'm done. Fuck this game. Blue Wolf Alex the Lore Walker signing out. Have a good one. The next rating video you'll get from me is going to be Final Fantasy Type 0. Shoot me now.